ain't going back. Not gonna buy into all that. Hey, ain't gonna hide. Gonna let all the fears slide. Got mother nature, it's on my side. Got all of the loving growing inside.
Hey everyone, welcome once again to the New Now. I'm very delighted to be back here again with my good friend Cambell from Didactic. And today we're going to title our chat, Getting to the Heart of the Matter. So many people have asked, I would feel both of us, how to get through the challenges of the day, how to make their life the way they would like it to be, how to even know what that means for themselves, how to do it, I would feel, without pointing fingers at the other person or the other society or the other rule or the other law. So we're going to tackle something that might be a little hard to talk about, but I'll do it from my perspective, and perhaps Cambell will share from his. And Cambell, what do you think? How to get to the heart of the matter, finding out what your dreams are, being a man, leading that way. We'll stay on topic in the the under feeling or over feeling of what we've been sharing on, how to be real. And since we're both men, how to be men in relation to, I guess, finding out what your dream is and finding out what your heart is saying to you.
Yeah. Being real is following your heart, isn't it? And that's the first thing. I think the main thing is to find out who you are, because obviously in this, realm that we find ourselves in, there's so much pressure to become something, and the whole education system is to become something. Who are you? What are you going to be when you grow up? Blah, blah, blah. But it's never about what do you want to create? What's your passion? What do you want to go out and do? How do you want to change the world? You never hear these questions. So they're the questions we've got to ask ourselves, because it is an inner journey, and it's really, it's more a process to me of stripping back. It's like that saying, the statue isn't done when there's nothing more to add. The statue's done when there's nothing more to take away. And it's the same with us. We're done when there's nothing more. So it's a process of stripping back all the BS that we've taken on, all these other people's, perceptions and all their, views of what the world is and what we are and what we can do, what we're capable of. And that's the main one. And as a side note to that, if you do have big dreams and plans and things you want to do, and you're surrounded by people that maybe aren't completely positive to your dreams and expectations, you don't have to share it. You can keep your dream to yourself and just do it, because you're much better doing that than having that dream ripped apart by people who don't see what you see. And this is the thing, it's no one sees what you see. No one can see what you see. So this is why it's very hard for so we all want someone to come along the journey with us, right? We all want someone there that we can rely on, and come on, let's do it together. But in the end, you're the only one with your dream and your life and so this is the next point, is courage. You've got to have the courage to just say, this is who I am, this is what I want, and so this is what I'm doing, and that's it. No one's stopping me. I don't care. I'm just doing it. And as far as is that, a lot of people worry about, is this my life dream? What's my life dream? What am I here for? I wouldn't focus on that too much. I wouldn't get too into it. I would just start in what feels good and get led. You'll end up where, as long as you're going into what feels good and what makes, what enriches you, then you're going in the right direction. You don't need to know what the end goal is. You just need to know what road you want to be on. It's like if you're traveling, interstate, you don't need to know all the details of everything. You just need to know, if I get on this road and drive for 5 hours, then I'm in this vicinity and I can reassess. So you're going in the right direction. A lot of people obsess over, the goal, what is it specifically I need to do? But I would say that is a trap. Just try and look at the bigger picture, make sure you're going in the right direction, and just keep your eyes out for the signs, and then you'll see them, and that'll, if you take them, it'll get you closer to your goal, and before you know it, you'll be there. So don't take it too seriously, guys. It's just life. It's just life.
You may not even know where there is yet until you get there. I like what Cambell said about, talking with someone and worrying that they're gonna, support your dream or not support your dream or attack you. if you consider it even from a logical perspective, a hero going somewhere new or a man going somewhere new, you can't be supported until you get there because no one's been there yet. Especially you haven't been there for yourself. So how can you expect someone to support you in getting somewhere that, let's say, doesn't exist for your life at the moment? And isn't that what a true hero would do? Is do it anyways, follow what they're saying, see what their heart is telling them. And, if you need someone to support you, if you need someone to tell you it's all right, if you need someone to tell you, it's a good way to go, I would say it's not as strong as it could be because, I found for myself, if I want to do something, my wife, my friends, 100 people could tell me no, that doesn't matter. And I'm going to go do it anyways and find out what that means for me and where it's taking me. And, and how do you get, so many people have asked myself, how do you listen to your heart? How do you know what your heart is saying? And, it's trial and error. There's no rule book really for you and your heart other than whatever rule book you make from your life and seeing, it's your rule book, it's your life. It's like autodidactic. You learn by yourself. Our motto has been elect to govern yourself for the new now, which means, you make your own rules. You decide which way you're going. You decide what's good for you and what's not. And, if there's challenges along the way, good. If there's naysayers along the way, even better.
Yeah. It's all just a test, isn't it? Who knows? That's just the universe, poking you, going, are you real? Are you serious? Or can I just push you off your path by putting this person in front of you and calling you an idiot? Because like you said, if that can happen, then you're not standing behind your dream. Which means it's not yours. You're going off what someone else has told you should have. Yeah. And when you do that, you can never, stand behind it because it's not yours. So yeah, we need to be real about what we want, and be real enough and courageous enough to understand that, we go down wrong roads, and sometimes we need to stop and turn around and go back the other way, or dip off down a side alley or what. We all make mistakes, but mistakes are awesome because they're mistakes. They're not mistakes. This is a trick. It's like a movie, mistake, take one, take two. And that's how we learn. If you're an actor and you're doing a scene and it's wrong, they'll say, stop, mistake. Do it this way, do this, change this, let's go again. Okay, that time it was better. Okay, let's do it again. And then at the end, okay, that was perfect. This is how we learn. So people are scared of, making mistakes and doing the wrong thing. But I would say if you never make a mistake, you've never learned anything and you've never gone anywhere, and you can't. So understand that, yeah, that's the process. The hero's journey, no hero's journey was this perfect journey, where everything went correct and, it was just so easy and, he, just walks through and everything goes his way. He slays the dragon, gets the girl. Yeah. It's a journey for a reason, because there are obstacles in journeys.
And the beauty, I think, is there is no director in your life. Like if you're doing a movie, as Cambell said, there's a director going, no, do it this way, do it that way. We want it this way because, A, B, C reasons that it for the audience. You are your audience. You are your life. The best thing to notice is this mistake. It's only up to you if you say it's a mistake or it's not. It's only up to you if you feel you can do better. It's only up to you if you feel you've gone down, as Cambell said, the wrong path and come back to the right one, or you've done it 100 times. And in other words, perhaps there are no mistakes. Perhaps it's just you learning about yourself. Like Cambell said, carving that. The sculpture is okay. That's not part of me. That's not part of me. That's not part of me. I can talk about myself. That's how I figured things out. So I've fallen down in the gutter 100 times to realize, well, maybe I don't want to live there. And by the gutter, I mean a life that I'm not happy with. For me, it seems like it's, for some people, they might be happy living in a certain way or eating a certain style or whatever. And that's really, a real man, let's say, I'll get back to that because I do like that topic, doesn't give two farts in the wind, let's say, on what someone says about him, as long as he feels in his heart, and that's something you got to figure out for yourself, that they're doing the right thing for themselves in their life. Really, that's the final arbiter, in my opinion, of what works and what doesn't.
And we need to respect that. If we want to be able to live our lives the way we want to live them and not have people tell us and give us rules, then we need to understand that we need to treat everyone else exactly the same way. And if that happens, then everything starts to sink into place. It's only this people trying to tell other people, this is the best for you, this is the best, no, do this, no, do this. That's what causes problems when people take that advice, because, you know, the world is full of people who are into careers, they're 20, 30 years into it, and they are unhappy. They do not like their job. They do not like their life, but they feel trapped because they've got in, they've followed the plan. And of course, you know, when you get a job, then it's, well, get your house, get all this debt. And of course, when you do that, you're stuck. You know, that's what they want. They want you stuck in this thing. And this all happens from people trying to live someone else's life. And this is the thing. Someone might say, oh, do this, it'll be so good, it'll be so good. What they're telling you is it would be so good for them, because they have no idea if it would be good for you. They only know what they like. How can anyone know what would make you feel good? And this is why it's all about, you know, courage again. We've got to get back to who we really are, make a decision on what we want to be and what we want to create, and then stick with it. You know, it's like Lorenzo said, you've got to be that person who, if someone comes up and says, you're an idiot, you say, yeah, no worries. See you later. Have a nice day. You know, what's that saying? A good life is the best revenge. You know, just do your thing. Because, you know, the world's full of naysayers, right? How many stories do you hear of someone, you know, building their dream, and the whole way, just these little trolls. You can't do that. You'll fail. What are you doing? And then they make it. And all these trolls are suddenly like, oh, yep, I knew they'd make it. I was always there. Oh, yeah, I was behind. And, you know, all those trolls, they're the people trying to live someone else's life because they want to be right. And so to them, you know, in their mindset, they can't achieve anything. So everyone else has to fail as well. And so that's when they go. But when they succeed, it's like, yes, I knew. And so these people, they don't stand for anything. And if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, right? So I think this is really what it is getting back, you know, the sculpture, getting back to who we are and being able to stand in courage there, and just having the attitude of, well, you guys can live your life the way you want. That's fine. I'm happy. Go in peace and let me do the same and go and live your life. You know, don't worry about all these structures and all these things that are trying to tell you this shiny, you know, object will make you sexier and this shiny object will do this. You know, really look into it, because most of those shiny objects will actually just get you in debt and get you chained to the system. So it's all a facade and a big lie.
Leave a link to sexyshinyobjects.com.
Yes, a link below.
I mean, you know, when I turn this around, you know, I find a lot of people going, you know, what about people putting masks on babies, which you see, or what about people getting vaccines? What about, you know, and like, and it used to bother me, I have to be honest, and I don't want to seem cruel, but, you know, when I take an honest look back on my life, I had so many hard things put at me. You know, I was buried in sugar, cereal, children's sugar from a young age, you know, cookies, candy, all of that stuff. I was buried in stupidity for school. I was buried in rules. My parents tried to bury me in their own idea of how I should be alive. Friends too at the time. And I look at my life today and I'm proud to say that I'm on my own path of freedom for myself towards my own happy destiny. So how did I get here? Well, all those challenges, you know, so maybe the next time you're saying, oh my goodness, look what they're doing to this person, or oh my goodness, look at the bad rules here, or oh my goodness, look at the, you know, the bad things that the parents are. I mean, and I hear about it, you know, fighting for transgender children and masking and what they're doing in schools and all this. And sure, it's a nightmare, and I don't think it's a good idea. And don't get me wrong, I think everyone should be loving to everyone else, but no one really knows what another soul needs to grow up. No one really knows what another soul needs for their challenges. You know, no one really knows. Well, you know, if someone had come to me when I was 12 and said, stop eating all that sugar, and yelled at my parents and, you know, said, you know, feed them happy organic apples for breakfast, he'll be better, his intelligence will be better. Probably at the time, it just would have been crazy, you know, crazy fight for me, them, and everyone else. And I'm kind of putting this back towards, you know, being a hero and finding your own heart. And I think, and I found part of it is being heroic enough to leave the other guy and gal alone, unless maybe they're asking you for your opinion, or advice, or help. I mean, maybe it's strong enough to allow the whole world to be crazy around you, while you follow in whatever dream you're following on, whatever idea you find for your life, and see who's there with you and who's not. And not worry that you know better. I mean, maybe a hero knows they don't know better for other people.
How could anyone know what's good for anyone else? I mean, we're looking at the results of that, of hundreds of years of a group of people saying that they know best for everyone and making the rules. Clearly, it doesn't work. And on mistakes, maybe if you haven't, if you're not, if you're still having trouble sort of finding, what you want to do and following your heart and listening to your heart and all that, maybe you haven't made enough mistakes. If you're not standing 100% behind what your decision is, maybe you haven't made enough mistakes. Because you see, that this is the thing, when you've fallen down enough, there comes a point where you just don't care anymore. I mean, if you put it into, a physical scene, you can imagine, not that we're homeless, but to just a homeless person, right? They get to a point, they start on the street and they're worried about other people and worried about, and I'm homeless and all that. And then 2 years down the track, they don't care. They're eating out of rubbish bins because they just don't care, they don't care what anyone thinks anymore. Now that's obviously the negative aspect, but it's the same thing. If you fail enough and and when I say fail, if you put yourself out there enough and just do what you want to do and get your results and don't worry about what people say, there's going to be a point, even if you do worry about what people say, there's going to be a point where you've just put yourself out there so much that you just don't care. You just don't care. I mean, what? And this is maybe the lesson of failure. Maybe if we got that lesson the first time, then we wouldn't have to keep going through this process. But the other thing is we don't know what spiritual journey people are on. We're all different. We're all energy life forms. So we're all different. We're all different at different points. So someone may need, to have a mask on as a kid, and they may need to, break free of that or whatever, or all these situations, maybe they're there to teach us something. Maybe everyone's a teacher and everyone's a student, because we don't have to look at the world as bad. It's like this, parents, a lot of people are like, my parents, they did this and that was so bad. And that's why, me. And my response to that is, well, what did their parents do to them? And what did their parents do to them? And really, how far back do you want to go? Should we go back and blame Adam? I mean, or should we just get over this and start from here and just leave it, cut the line and get over it? Because, the blame game, that never ends. If you want someone to blame, if you're someone or something, you can find it. You can find a million of them. The problem is when you point, you've got three fingers pointing back at you, which is telling us we're the cause of everything. Everything good and bad that happens in our life is us.
Also, you're telling the world, you're telling the world, if you blame someone, that you don't have the power to change yourself. I would think that's the bottom line. You say it's their fault, and then fill in the blanks that I can't do this, that, and the other thing. You're stuck. You're stuck not doing 1, 2, and 3 that you want to do for your life because you're waiting for someone else to stop or start doing something for you, give you more money, stop calling you names, tell you you're great, change the laws, change the rules, give you a new job, whatever it is for you. So if it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault, it's their fault, whoever or whatever. If you think about it, I mean, it really, in some ways, I think we've just been taught to be stupid from school. We've been taught, to not think for ourselves. We've been taught to make choices instead of make answers, or to take choices instead of make answers. Because if you bring everything back to yourself, you're only, no matter how hard it is, if it's my responsibility. Fill in your blank for how horrible things are. They go, what if this happened to me? What if that happened to me? What if the other thing? What if I was, God forbid, so to speak, raped when I was 4? What if this happened? What if I had no money? What if my parents beat me till I was a blue piece of blob in the corner? And I'm not saying those things are great, because obviously they're not nice, so it's not something we need to go into. But wherever you are at the moment, if you're asking that question about how to get over those things, those circumstances probably aren't in your life anymore. And if they are, you should move them, right? If the job's not working for you, change it. If a relationship's not working for you, go somewhere else. whatever it is, if you take responsibility for those choices, then somehow you'll find the power to change them. But as long as you're blaming, you're in essence, and not even in essence, in reality, you're telling the world you don't have the power to change it. Somehow you need help. Somehow you need something new. And that, if you think about it, leaves a space of non-action, which is not necessarily useful as far as getting where you would like to go, because you're waiting for permission in some ways.
Yeah.
So many people are going, I wish the lockdown would stop. Okay. I wish they'd let me travel. Sure. I wish vaccines weren't, being rolled out as mandatory, which they're not. They're coercing you, but I don't. But they're not. Really, what it comes down to, I think, is what price are you willing to pay to be free? That's
courage.
Following the courage. And whatever you're willing to pay is whatever you're willing to get. If you're willing to pay everything, you can get everything. I found. This has been my
Yeah, that's great. Definitely. It's like going, into a shop, isn't it? And are you prepared to put all in to get what you really want, or are you going to sort of hold some back and, I'll just get the second best version and keep one foot in the system just in case and one foot out? That's called not being focused, and that you cannot win if you do that because you haven't made a decision. And this is one thing, is this whole, and it's the mummy daddy complex, really, isn't it? It's people, we want this safety umbrella. Yeah, I want my dreams, but what if I fail? Well, I still want the system to be there to catch me just in case. You see, this is the trap, and that's what they want us to think, that we can't get outside and win on our own without the system. They want us to think we can't do that, but we can. And the thing is, it's was it Rumi, when you step out on the way appears? It's like when you have the courage to take that step and to start walking your own path on your own, and when you realize, look, there's no one, because you will hit a point where you just understand there's no one that's going to come with me. It's just me. And when you do that and you step out, the way does appear, and the people appear, and everything appears, and it's not scary. You just, what seems scary is just that first step out, that first making the break. But if you can do that and get over that, and just trust yourself, let's see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? Really, what's the worst that could happen? And then just start noticing what the universe sends you to support you, and you'll start to realize, hang on, okay, I really do have everything I need here. I don't need this system. I don't need the approval of everyone, because guys, guess what? We're approaching 8 billion people, or so they say, on the earth. If you think you can be friends with 8 billion people and everyone's going to be on your side and everyone's going to like you, well, you're wrong. I'm sorry, you're just wrong. Not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to want what you want. And that's fine. That's great, because guess what? If everyone wanted what you wanted, it'd be a really boring world, wouldn't it? We want diversity. That's the greatness. That's the best part, is that everyone's different, and is that everyone wants something else, and something, they've got their own ideas. That's the value. So we should support that and understand that we're part of that. That value is us. So we need to put our value into the world. We need to contribute, and when we all contribute and we have that, that courage to stand there and to be ourselves, then everything starts to work. Everything starts to work in motion. The cogs start to turn, and life becomes easy. It's really, it's interesting that you just go from this place that it seems so hard, and you just, one decision, and you just go, oh, really? Oh, why was I carrying all that stuff? Let's just leave that at the door and continue down this path. So and as far as following your heart, just quiet time. Some people do hear auditory stuff, some people get feelings, whatever it is. But I'd say the biggest thing is your gut. If it feels good, then you're on the right path. If it feels bad, then you're not on the right path. And you'll feel the energy, and it might not be a big thing, but just, if you get a feeling, just go with it and see what happens. And then that will get stronger and stronger, because the main thing is we've been taught to ignore it. That's the main thing, is actually getting back to a place where you understand you do have that connection, which again is the system, right? Trying to tell us we're these physical beings, no energy, all random, doesn't matter. You can't do anything. Just get a job, work for 40 years and die.
Easy.
Hmm.
Study money, study history, study whatever you need to study. If you make a choice, I would agree with Cambell, and it's wrong, you'll figure it out right away. That's how you get your heart. In some ways, I would think we're talking about the honest, simple parts of spirituality. So many people spend so much time and so many books and so many rules and so many Buddhas, and so many Siddharthas and whatever going back, when really, it comes down to, I found your own integrity with yourself, your own belief in your own, I don't even like to use the word belief, but your own, shall we say, your own
perspective,
your own perspective in what you need, in how you are, and you depend on your own resources, whether they're big or small, to get where you need to go. And, also, as Cambell said, you'll find the right people will show up, the right support will be there, the right food, the right time, the right people, the right abundance, the right money. And if it's not there, it's not the right time for it, and maybe you need to change something, and as soon as you want to blame, throw it in the garbage. As soon as you want to feel shame, I'd say throw that in the garbage as well. As soon as you say you can't do it for whatever reason, throw that in the garbage, figure it out. That, and maybe your heart will help you out. I mean, is it easy? No. I've been in the gutter, once again, more times than I can count. I've fallen down. I've got scars. I've got blood. Crazy experiences. Top to bottom and sideways. The only difference with me is I was too stubborn to stop. And I was going, well, and if you're afraid, well, we talked about it in another video, Cambell. Now you're going to be dead anyways. One day, everyone is. Right? So the biggest fear can go away right there. Right. And if you're afraid of losing your house or your job or your security, well, then you've already lost, because that's what they're there for. Right? That they're not secure. And you think about it, security, what's that? It's to secure you, right? Secure you to a post, secure you to a house. Yeah, it's a security. Securities are horrible, really. People go, oh, I need my security. You go, well, what does that mean? It means to tie you up. That's what to secure something means. Think about it. To bound you, tie you. A dog is secure to the chain, a job is secure because you can't leave it, right? Something because it's immovable, and that's what they try and sell everybody. Oh, we need security for the vaccine. We need security for the rules. We need security for travel. We need security. Oh my, hasn't everyone figured out that security is pretty much the most horrible thing you can imagine? Because it doesn't allow new things to come. All it means is I want to know what's already there, and I want it to be there forever.
Yeah.
Right.
It's protect what I've got, protect what I've got. But yeah, I just also wanted to say, this whole, 1 foot in and 1 foot out, guys, maybe just, it's like Lorenzo said, we're all going to be dead one day. If you haven't heard, that there's a poem, a writing by a lady who was about 75 that she wrote, basically on her deathbed. And the whole thing is really, I wish I didn't listen to other people. I wish I danced more. I wish I did more of what I wanted. So maybe, it might be a good little visual exercise. If you are, having problems taking that first step, imagine yourself on that deathbed. Seriously, imagine it. And you've had all these opportunities and you've let them all go. And you're at the end and you're just thinking, what if only? Do you want to be there? Or would you rather be the person who said, well, I did this and I did this. Yeah, I failed, but hey, I did this and I did this. I mean, and what stories do you want to tell your grandkids? I mean, how do you want to be remembered? This is the thing. It's only life, guys. Have a go. And with courage, jump. Don't have 1 foot in the system. Just try jumping out with both feet and see what happens. Again, what's the worst that could happen? If it all goes bang, you can always run back to the system. They will always take you back, always. So there's nothing to lose and everything to gain. And so it's just, believe that you're that power. I mean, look around the world. Look at what other people have achieved. Are they that different from you? They're not. The only difference is they believed they could do it. They ignored everyone else and they went for it. And things happen for them. This is how it works. They try and tell you, look, no, it's all about getting a job and working hard and educating yourself. But clearly we know that's not true, because look at Look who's making all the money. It's you know, the movie stars and the musicians and, you know, people who are put up in the public space. It's not the intellectuals, and of course, you know, I won't go into the whole music and industry, but basically people who go for their dreams and do something that's a bit different and a bit more interesting, they're the ones that are more successful. You know, no one sits around and praises the mathematicians, you know, for having such an amazing life, do they? It's the ones who really go for it, and they're the ones that we admire. You know this, guys. You know, if you see someone out there in a bus and they've been driving around for 10 years just living on the beach, you know that, wow, I'd love to do that at least for a while. You know, so just, you know, think about it. You know, what are your options, and what if you don't take them? What if you don't take them? What if you're on that bed at 75 or 80 going, what did I do? Why didn't I do it? It's not that scary. Just jump. Just jump.
Will people regret when I know what Campbell's talking about. I remember reading that and a few others of similar circumstances, and they regret what they haven't done. They don't regret what they've done. You know,
no one, yeah.
And yep.
And yeah, this is the thing. They don't talk a lot about, I achieved this, and, you know, they say, oh yeah, I had, you know, nice family and friends, but they're not like, well, I got this promotion in this job, or I did this. It's more about the regret, that the chances they didn't take. That's what they remember.
I should have danced more. I should have spent more time with my wife or my family or my children. I should have traveled more. Should have painted more. You know, it's always the artistic side of it, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. I think when you get older, as you're getting older, the ego part of you starts to go away, because maybe if you've had money for a long time, or you've had a big house for a long time, or you've had this rock and roll and drugs and alcohol for a long time, eventually you don't want it anymore, right? Because your body goes, well, I'm tired of that. Right? I can talk for myself. I've had rich food. I used to drink a lot of beer, etc. And then eventually your body goes, that's enough, right? So what are you missing? You're missing what you can't do if you're not feeling energetic enough to go out and grasp those things, which is what happens when you get old and your energy goes away, right? If you let that happen to yourself, you know, you can't climb the mountains anymore, maybe, or you can't dance the jig anymore. And so you regret not being able to have followed a life that will allow you to do those things. You know, really what I'm getting down to is, I think the perspective that comes when you study what's gone on, you know, and I'm going to take it back again to one of the first things I learned on the Autodidactic channel was our history is actually very, very short. You know, this history we're in right now started at maximum, it seemed 150 years ago. I mean, so if you think about it, it wasn't that long. I mean, 100 years ago, police had to escort children to school, I heard, because the parents didn't want the kids to leave the house. They wanted to teach them how to be alive, right? Or 100, like in the old days in Ireland, I was watching a show that, you know, it was the opposite, right? You know, that parents realized the dedication and the responsibility of their children's lives was up to them to pass their wisdom along. You know, now maybe parents are going, oh my goodness, I just want to get the kids out to school so I can go shopping and have my cupcakes and be left alone and get some peace or whatever. And, you know, it's part of being able to see that it's not so bad if the system falls apart. You know, it's not so bad maybe if the schools are so horrible you can't send your children there. It's not so bad if you can't, you know, go to Costco and buy a triple pack of donuts, you know, because you lock them down or whatever, right? You know, maybe it's not so bad that you have to walk further or exercise more or grow your own food or educate your own children or take responsibility for your own health and your own choices. Perhaps that's what this world is showing everybody. You know, look what happens when you give your power away. Look what happens when you allow people to make choices for yourself, for your health, for your wealth, for your well-being, for your education, for your, you know, belief system, your worldview. Like all of it's been given away to these strange, funny people in suits that come through on a box, you know, and like, who the fuck are they? Well, how do they get their authority? Like, why don't people question that? You know, do they know you? Have they met you? Do they know anything about you? It's pretty straight. No, not one thing. You know, do they love you? You can guess. They probably don't. So why are you taking their advice? You know, if you're lucky enough to be in a good relationship, man or woman, whatever, talk to them. See what their heart is saying. See what your heart is saying. Be honest with each other. Be prepared to look silly, ugly, stinky, whatever. You know, be honest. See what gets shared. Everyone's probably got a friend or two. Everyone's probably got maybe a close relationship or two. You know, it might be good to have this kind of a conversation with someone. You know, bounce off maybe what dreams they're looking for, what dreams you're looking for. I'm taking this back to, how to get to your heart. Discuss what's maybe been missing for 20 years. Sit down with your wife or your girlfriend or your friend, or if you're, a younger person, your close compatriots, and discuss your dreams. See what they say, see what you say. Be honest. Who knows what'll happen? And you got to start somewhere to examine this part of yourself. You've got to start somewhere to see what's missing in relation to what you think is missing. Nobody else. What you would like to make in relation to what you would like to make. Nobody else. How you would like to be alive in relation to how you want to be alive. Nobody else. Don't hurt anybody. And I don't mean emotionally, because maybe your mother will be upset, or your friends. You can't help but piss people off if you act how you would like to act and they don't want you to. And I go, c'est la vie. Too bad for them. If they don't love you for you being loving to yourself, then they're not your real parents, so to speak, or your real friends, or your, maybe by blood, but that only goes so far, in my opinion. The rest is energy relations.
Yeah. I mean, clearly at the moment, in the last 50 years or whatever, there's people, or beings on very different levels, of learning. And I think, because of where we are now, we've had all this, should we say, I don't know, more high vibrating energy beings come in, shall we say it that way? So there is a lot of problems, that people can't connect with the older generation and with their parents, and literally they can't see. So sometimes it's not even worth going there. Why start an argument if they can't see it? It's not, if you're trying to show someone what you want to do, that's not about you creating something. That's about you trying to change someone's mind and their thinking. And then we get back to this whole thing of, do you want them to be able to change yours? Of course not. So we shouldn't be going there at all. Excuse me. But what I was going to say as well is, obviously we've talked a lot about this is an inner journey, and it's so much to do with yourself and making your own decisions and your own courage and making sure that your decisions are your decisions and you're not just following someone else's. But, as Lorenzo said, you can still talk about this stuff to people, and you can still form groups, guys, even if it's a group of 3 or 4 or 5 people, and you have your separate goals, but you just, you're there to support each other in those separate goals. And the common thing is you have that dream. You don't have to do it alone. You have to make the decision alone, and then you have to have the courage to step out alone. But you can, strength, courage in numbers, right? Strength in numbers. And also, you can talk to people about it. Like I said, if they're on a different level and they're not going to really connect with it, well, just think of a way that you can explain it that they will, sort of understand it. But it's much more about the way we say things than what we say. So if you're sort of going into people with your back up, like, oh, I know they're all going to be against this, so I'm just going to go in and prove that I'm right. Well, they're all going to say that you're wrong. This is how it works. But if you go in there and speak from your heart, just be open, be, that word again, right? Courageous. And just say, look, this is what I want to do. This is my plans. I just want to and not go in there like, you need to help me. It's just, I just want to let you guys know what I'm up to, blah, blah, blah. You'll find that, I would say you will find 100% of people will support you if you go in coming from your heart and coming from that place. It's when people go in and, try and change people's minds. I'm right, so I'm doing this. Everyone goes, no, you're not telling me what to do. And don't we all do this? And this is another thing. Just understand, everyone is like you, but not like you. So we're all human. We all have these reactions and things from our body suits. And so, if you don't like being told what to do, chances are no one else likes being told what to do. So take it from that point. So don't tell people what to do, and they won't tell you what to do. It's, give and take. But yeah, I mean, make your own decisions, be courageous, and then put it out there. And the ones that don't want to support you, well, let them go by the wayside. And, the ones that will, gather them closer and, move forward.
Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need help.
No.
I'm going to turn this metafictionally speaking, or metaphysically speaking. Cambell and I did a talk not so long ago, I guess a couple of weeks ago, on being a man and getting to your heart. And there was a comment in one of the videos, I'm not going to mention the name, that basically said, I like watching you guys, it helps me out, but as soon as I turn the video off, I don't know where to go. You know, I don't know what's going on next. I don't know how to get to my heart. And in some ways, he or she was courageous enough. I'll guess it was a man. It felt like a manly letter. Was courageous enough to say, you know, they wanted more help. You know, and this week I've made a video on getting to the heart of the matter in relation to that. When I was inspired, you know, when Cambell and I were chatting about what we were going to talk about today, it seemed to me that this fellow would probably watch, because I think he's watched all the videos we've done. So we've revisited. Yeah, hello. We've revisited that topic. And how did it happen? Well, he didn't just go back in his room and go, oh, those guys are opening their heart. Poor me, I can't do anything. I think I'll have some beer and I'll feel bad. He just said, well, I wish I could do that. Or I'm not sure how. And he kind of put it out in a public space that allowed for the world to, so he planted that seed or that dream or that notion of maybe getting some more clarity on what he can do. And if you're listening, I would say then the next step is to get off your ass and try already. You know, and you know, like you said, make mistakes, be an idiot, fall down, be a fool. It's the only way you're going to learn what your heart's voice is saying for you, because you make an action, if it feels good, do it again, right? It doesn't stop. And it's really not rocket science. We're alive to be alive. Oh my goodness, big secret, you know. We're alive to find ourselves out. Big secret, we're alive to flower, you know. And if you're listening to someone else, you can't flower, right? You're like a caged animal. If you set yourself free, you know, enjoy the ride. It's a fun one, you know. Even if you're living by yourself, you know, in a pair of underwear under a coconut tree somewhere, eating a coconut in an island, and no one's around you, and you're laughing, I think you're ahead of the game personally. You know, it's more fun than you know, wondering where your next paycheck is coming from, and if McDonald's is going to have a new toy with their Happy Meal next week, you know, that you're going to collect, or whatever it is people do these days.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to the point that the system is crazy anyway. It's I mean, what's it even offer anymore? So, I mean, we're at the point that, you know, we need to, it's a lot easier now, guys, to get out there and to do your dreams. People, it doesn't seem so crazy now, because, I mean, people are like, why are you doing that? All you have to do is say, the system, you looked around. Hello.
You're kidding.
Yeah, you're kidding me, right? So this is the time, you know, just go for it. And don't be scared to be that weirdo. Don't be scared to be yourself. Don't be scared of what people might say, because who are those people? Oh, but what will people say? Name 10 of those people. Of course, because you don't know them. So why do you care? I mean, and this is the thing, people think, oh, they're going to go back and they're going to have conversations. You really think you're that important? You really do? You really think everyone's going to be walking around paying attention to you, spending their focus on you, going, look at that person, look at that. They don't care, guys. They don't care. No one cares in the long term, unless you do something great with your life, because the only way that we can change people is through example, through the way that we live our lives. We can never tell anyone to change, but we can live a life, our best life, and through that people can see us and they can go, I like that. I want to be like that. Like Lorenzo said with the letter that we got, someone saw something, I want to change and be a bit more like that. So that's great. That's a decision. Now take the action. Now start walking down that path. How do you become it? And there's another saying, lots of sayings in this interview. Fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. If you see something, just have a look at them. What traits of those, you know, what is it that you like? What traits do they have that you want? You know, is it the way they act? Is it this? Is it that? And then just mirror it. Just fake it. And that'll end up becoming part of you. It's the same as, you know, visualization or repetition or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, you're not trying to become that person. That's why you just pick out traits and things. I like the way that they talk to people. I like the, you know, the way that the speed of their voice. I like this. I like that. And then just, fake it till you make it. Try and act like that person, but yourself. Just take on that trait and change yourself, because this is it, right? It's all about change. This is what we're trying to do. Change. So don't hold so much onto who you are, because if you think about it, you don't want that. You want to change that. And this is the dichotomy, is everyone's kind of trying to hold on to who they are while they're trying to change. And I guess we're getting back to this whole thing again of, you can't have a foot in, you know,
No.
in both courts. You just can't, because you're not standing for anything. You haven't made that decision. So you've got to get to that decision, make it, and then have the courage to walk into it.
And the hero faces death. A hero faces death. All the movies we see, all of the books we read, let's say, all of the myths, there's always death at the center of them. Right? So you have to be heroic enough to sacrifice your own old life for a new one. Will it feel like a death? Yeah, of course. It's not real unless it feels like it's real. And so if it feels like your old personality is dying, if it feels like an old relationship, an old life, an old job, an old way of being, an old security for money or whatever is dying, that's because it is. And be a man already. Go, oh my goodness, it's so hard. It's like, there's an old Japanese saying, day, which basically is a beautiful way. It means, so what? Or who cares? Basically, it's a very small word that means a lot. And, if it feels bad, whatever, who cares? Do you watch a hero in a movie who's facing death and he starts crying and you're going to go, oh, I love that guy. Or he's afraid to do it. Oh, that's a great movie. No, it's the guy that goes, does it anyways, right? It's the guy who goes, oh my goodness, maybe I won't be alive at the end of this, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's like, why do we love those people? Probably because, as Cambell said, it's a trait you want to emulate. And if and am I afraid every time something new happens? I'm scared shitless all the time. I have a secret for you guys. Like every time I do these talks, I'm shy. My wife still doesn't believe me because she met me after the fact. I was super shy growing up. I'm super shy right now. I hate being in public. I dislike, there's a part of me that, every time I'm about to do these talks, a part of me wants to cancel them before they start. Every time, right? But I go, I use my intelligence, let's say, to go, well, eventually I'm having fun. I know that's not the right part of me that I want to see grow, right? What you focus on grows, what you don't focus on eventually goes away. And because of that, once again, I'm having an amazing talk and I'm having fun and I'm sharing and I'm feeling really strong and caring and loving and heroic in my way. And it's happening because, well, I'm just taking the action, even though I literally am scared shitless pretty much before any of my interviews.
Me too. I mean, the scary, that never really goes away, but you kind of get used to it, or I guess you get used to getting into position and then you just go for it. But it's still, but yeah, it's still a scary. I get the same thing, especially with lives and that. It's like, oh my God, but you do it because there's a bigger picture. You need a bigger picture. You need something bigger. All these people that achieve great things, they have all this adversity, but they keep going. Why do they keep going? Not because they're crazy, because they've got a bigger picture that they want to achieve. And they see that and they're like, well, I'm just going to achieve it. And, come hell or high water, I will get through this. And if you don't have a bigger picture, you'll be easy to be stopped. People will just go boonk and you'll just go falling off the side because you're not doing it for anything. There really does need to be something that, grabs your soul. Let's say that. Something that gets your emotions running and your blood boiling and all these kind of things we say. That's going to, and look, that can be your kids. That can be your family. It doesn't have to be, I'm changing the world. It just needs to be, it can be as simple as I'm going to build the best life I can for my kids and nothing will stop that. That can be it. But there does need to be something bigger to keep you going, to get you through those hard times and that adversity. And like Lorenzo said, with us, a lot of that is you guys and all your amazing comments and stuff. And that we can see that we're having an effect and we want to help more. And the bigger picture is, a better world. And so we keep going. And so, all the trolls and that might come on and call us names, they're insignificant because we can see the good that we're doing. And so that's, and I guess that's the second thing. Once you start going down your path, guys, pat yourself on your back when you do achieve things, big or small. Say, yeah, I'm going in the right direction. Awesome. Let's keep going.
Accept the challenges, accept the failures, accept all of it. Just don't accept doing nothing. Don't accept being a slave. Don't accept listening. Do some research. You'll see this whole world falls apart. All of it. It's all. If you believe anything you were taught in school or anything you were taught through a TV, I would say it's all suspect. You know, the monetary system, look around. I mean, everyone looking around these days can see it's not real. You know, like nobody's traveling yet. All the airplanes are still in business, right? Nobody's traveling yet. All the stocks are still high. You know, everything is still going. The world hasn't stopped. You know, something funny is going on. You know, you can smell it that the monetary system's not real. The laws aren't real. The rules aren't real. Our history is not real. This is just my opinion, by the way. You know, I can, you know, I've done my own studies, and this is the conclusion I've come to. And that has allowed me the strength of going, well, if none of it's real, what is real? Okay, I'm real. And then if I don't have to listen to any of these laws because I know they're not there for my betterment or my happy life, well, what do I listen to? Okay, I listen to myself. I listen to my friends. I'll ask Cambell some advice sometimes. I'll ask other people some advice. I'll ask my wife. I'll ask people that I know are on their own loving path, see what they have to say and see how that works for me. You know, so once again, back to you, that fellow. I hear every time you do a book or a video or something, you're usually just talking to one person. So I'll talk to the fellow that says he doesn't know what to do. I'll say, just realize if you don't do it for yourself, no one's going to do it for you. And something's better than nothing. And, you know, do 10 things, see where you go. If 8 of them don't work and 2 do, well, you know what to do next.
Yep. Just give it a go. And, you know, just have a think about if you don't take that chance, you know, how are you going to think about that in 30 years, you know, because the failures that we think are big now, I mean, just look back in your past, you know, we've all had these things that we think are so big and so life-shattering and changing, and you look back on them 5 years later, it's like, oh my God, that was nothing. That was ridiculous. And this is how everything is. It seems big on the way up, but it's not really. So, yeah, believe in yourself, guys. Spend time alone. Write things down. What do you want to be? What traits do you want to have? Where do you want to live? What kind of life do you want? Who's your perfect partner, et cetera, et cetera. And just start to define things and just start to find the traits. You know, if you want a certain partner, maybe think about, who do I need to be to attract that kind of a person, and then work on becoming that person. You know, these are all ways that we can figure out where we want to go. And of course, make mistakes, guys, because when you figure out what you don't want, that tells you what you do want.
Sure does.
That's another good way to figure it out.
Sure does. I'll leave a couple of links below. There's a beautiful video that's come out called The Narrow Path just recently by Chiron last. I did something on the Battle for Your Heart not so long ago, a few days ago, so I'll leave a couple of links. Maybe I'll ask Cambell once we're off if he wants to suggest anything for further studies from any of you lovely people here. You know, maybe there's not.
Yeah, no, I've done a couple of videos recently on Spiral Up. I did one yesterday, all about a time for change, where I talked about that Ecclesiastes 20, I think it is. You know, there's a time to reap and a time to sow. And I think that's also a good way to look at it. So yeah, check out Spiral Up channel. There's lots of content, and there's also some more interviews with Lorenzo on there that you'll find.
I'll leave a link, and from another lovely thing I'll leave everyone with, which was very interesting, supposedly a gospel that was left out of the Bible, and I'm not religious at all, but the Gospel of Thomas that was found. Very interesting stuff on another good channel, which I'll leave for you. And basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but supposedly what was said at the time was, you know, what you let out from inside will one day save you, and what you keep inside will one day kill you. You know,
now that
much of a paraphrasing. So, you know, whatever it is, whatever it is that you need to let out, let it out. Good, bad, ugly, indifferent. But because if you hide it and you keep it inside, I think it goes full circle back to what Cambell said about people that feel bad on their deathbed. What they haven't let out is the things they regret. I didn't let out the dancing. I didn't let out the singing. I didn't let out. Fill in your own blanks. We all have them, right? And that's what killed them in the end.
It's festered, Yeah,
it festered and rotted and died because they were a flower that needed to let out whatever it is they needed to let out. And that energy had to go somewhere. So eventually they died. Maybe someone else will pick up that mantle. Do I want someone to pick up my mantle? No. You know, if the world wants something, it's going to come. So if you have the inspiration to bring it, if it's not you, next guy, the next scale is going to. So.
Yeah. Wow. That puts a whole new perspective on killing your dreams, doesn't it? Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, but that,
you don't let your dreams out, they'll kill you, in my opinion.
I agree. And you can even look at it as from the point of view that you've been given a gift by whatever, the universe, God, whatever, and you kept it to yourself. You went to the party and you didn't give the host their gift. How's that? Of course that's going to turn out bad. So, but that's an amazing quote to end on. You know, what you give out will save you. what you hold inside and don't give out will eventually come back and kick you in the butt, kill you.
There's lots coming on. We have books that I've made with the editor here, some Maleficent books, which we'll share at some point. Cambell and I sounds like we're going to do a lot more videos related to this. We're going back to print the New Now Agora magazine, Freedom of the Press in a few 6 weeks, in and around there. There's some events that Cambell will be a part of. We'll keep you up to date. Both of us I'll send out some emails in relation to this. Questions, suggestions, recommendations, send them along. We love them. If you're a troll, enjoy yourself. We love them.
Yes.
It's fun to delete you guys quickly. Our gals or AIs, whatever you are. So I guess we'll leave it here. Seems maybe we come to a natural end.
Yes. I think that's a great place to end it, guys. Give out your gifts, or I'll come back and
give out your gifts. Give out your gifts. I will leave a link to the Spiral Up video that Cambell mentioned. We'll leave the link to the Narrow Path, which I mentioned. That one on the Gospel of Thomas from Robert Sepehr. I remember him. He's a very good anthropologist.
Yes, he's
videos he's done. I'll leave that. And there's one more which I haven't on the Battle for Your Heart. I'll leave those. So these are 4 great ways to follow through, do some research. We're open to more. I love you guys very much. Thank you much for your time. You as well, Cambell. This has been great. For everyone,
thank you all. Stay awesome.
Feel free to leave a comment. Stay awesome, as he says. That's a good way.
Make me lie to my heart. No one tells me where I should start. Freedom.